and welcome to Gamification in the Classroom. Today, we will be learning different ways to make lessons engaging and fun. My name is Kyle Cormier and I will be your presenter. I am a grade 6 teacher at Redcliff Middle School where I teach English, social studies, and health. I've left my email, my Twitter handle, and my website if you'd like any information afterwards, or if you have any questions or are looking for resources. Please feel free to reach out at any of these options. Before we begin, I would like to acknowledge that we are in Mi'kma'ki, the traditional unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq people. Throughout the presentation, I will be checking this Padlet in real time. If you have any questions throughout the presentation, please post them and I will answer you. I will leave it open for 15 minutes after the presentation to answer any questions you have afterwards, and anything posted after, later in the evening, I will still make an effort to reach out. Please leave your name and contact info if you require more information from me. All you have to do is scan this barcode with your device and it should take you to the Padlet. Let's begin. There are 4 main elements of gamification. The first one, it's fun. Gamifying lessons keeps students engaged and provides a social connection. The second one is immediate feedback. This is important for a lot of students, especially those really keen on succeeding. So games provide feedback which helps students deepen their understanding. The third one, progress indicators. Students can climb leaderboards and receive awards for their progress. And the fourth, scaffolded learning. Students work on building new skills with challenges that increase. Gamification is also a perfect way to incorporate universal design for learning into your lessons. UDL in the classroom helps give all students an equal opportunity to succeed. This approach offers flexibility in the ways students access material, engage with it, and show what they know. By using games to assess or help students learn, we are able to teach concepts in a way that they understand and that they are more comfortable with. The UDL framework guides the design of instructional goals, assessments, methods, and materials that can be customized and adjusted to meet individual needs. Gamification also includes a handful of 21st century skills which are very prominent in the classrooms today. Such things as critical thinking and problem solving, creativity and innovation, technological literacy, communications and media literacy, collaboration and teamwork, as well as motivation, self-regulation, and adaptability. As we inspire our students to become lifelong learners, we must focus on collaboration, systems thinking, developing empathy, ease in communication, and the use of technologies that serve to help us tackle real-world issues. Project-based learning and group work is the standard in education today. And by gamifying lessons, you can hit all of these things. Gamification in the classroom is becoming more and more popular, especially in today's climate of learners. Gamifying lessons has become a staple in my own classroom, and it has helped with classroom management, student motivation, and climate. One book that I highly recommend for any teacher who is looking to get into gamification is Chris Biffle's 122 Amazing Games. It follows the whole brain teaching model, which is, in my opinion, a fantastic model. But I like to take things from his book and adapt them to my own teaching style. And one thing that I've really taken from his book is the use of leaderboards. Leaderboards are a way to show the instant feedback and the progress indicators. For example, I like to use a point system. Usually I set it up with Class Dojo, and I award points for students who have positive behavior and who do their work. On the flip side, you can lose points for negative behavior and not doing your schoolwork. Rewards, I think everyone is motivated by rewards, and especially students. I like to give rewards for hitting certain checkpoints throughout the year, which I will show you in a moment. And if you want to focus on collaboration, especially with gaming, you can award group points, which encourages collaboration and resolving conflicts. So if a group is working well together, they will all receive a group point, and if they're not working well together, they will lose points. Now, going back to rewards. The whole purpose of the leaderboard is to earn points throughout the year and climb the leaderboard. While I have used it in class, I have also expanded it outside of the classroom walls, and I tell the kids the second they walk in the building in the morning, the game has started. I also like to do whole class challenges. Sometimes I'll do a weekly scoreboard. I'll teach them a task, and if we can go the whole week doing it correctly, then the whole class will receive points. I've also embedded challenges into their writing tasks. For example, as a way to practice the use of adjectives in descriptive writing, every time they use an adjective before a noun, they will get a point. To further it, anytime they use two adjectives before a noun, they can get 2 points. And the triple whammy, using 3 adjectives before a noun and get 3 points. I have found this to be a very effective way to reinforce some of the things that we talked about in class. And it can inspire and encourage even the most reluctant writers to put a little bit more effort into the writing if they know they will be rewarded. I do the same thing with class participation. As an English teacher, speaking and listening are part of the curriculum. And a lot of times students are reluctant or nervous to speak out in front of the class. So I started rewarding them with participation points. So anytime they share a piece of writing or present a research project to the class, they get participation points. And now, what do we do with the points we collect? In my classroom, again, I teach middle school English, I have this scoreboard. So once you hit 100 points, you're considered a pro. What comes with that is you get 2 extra days of using Epic during reading period, which is something we have every day. You get a 1-day homework extension, so if something is due on Wednesday, you can hand it in on Thursday with no penalty. And you get to select a new dojo avatar, which is the little monsters that appear on the dojo leaderboard. When you hit 200 points, you get 3 days of Epic during reading period. You can hand in your homework 2 days late without penalty. You get to skip a question on a quiz or a test with the teacher's discretion. And you can change your avatar again. Once you hit 300 points, you get a full week of Epic during reading period, another 2-day homework extension. You get to skip 2 questions. You can pick a sticker. I usually have a chest full of cool stickers that they like to take and put on their backpacks and on their binders and on their own technology. And you get to choose a game to play. So some afternoon you can cash in your reward and say, I'd like to play a game this afternoon. And as long as it's okay with the teacher, we can work it out. And again, you get a new dojo avatar. 400 points, you hit legend status, you get a full week of Epic during reading period. You get to pick where to sit for the day. That could be with your friend, it can be at a certain spot in the classroom, wherever you want. Get to get another sticker. You get to be teacher for a period, and this is a very popular one with kids who want the responsibility of being a teacher for a period. I've had students come up and teach an actual lesson about something that they were interested in. I had a couple of girls last year teach us about women in war. Somebody came up and taught us all about horses. So it gives students a chance to be in that leadership role. Other kids just want to play Kahoot for a period. And you know what? If they hit 400 points, they've earned that. Pick a mystery card is something I have that has a random surprise on it. You could pick a mystery card and it could say, we're going to spend the afternoon outside, or we're going to go to the gym for a period tomorrow and play a game instead of doing health class, or we're going to go to the foyer and play with some makerspace technology. That's a fun little mystery thing. And now we come to the really fun part of the presentation. Literacy centers. Literacy centers have completely revolutionized the way I teach literacy skills in my classroom. Writing comprehension, spelling, and technology-based games keep my students engaged and create a really and truly fun learning environment. Literacy centers are a perfect way to teach multiple skills at the same time. I like to break my classes up into groups, usually by reading level if I'm doing the ELA section, and these groups will work together to complete various activities. It is also a fantastic way to work in curriculum outcomes from other subjects, as well as work with small groups for guided and shared reading. So in my classroom, what this looks like is if you came in while we were doing centers, you would see a mix of word games and creative writing prompts. We usually have at least one tech game or tech tool being used. I cycle through centers each class, so each group gets a chance to play each game. I don't do it, groups don't change in the same day, because I like to give each group a lot of time to focus on their game or their activity. Some games are more challenging than others. The UDL framework fits into there. And one group always works with me on reading comprehension. Again, I am an English teacher, so what that looks like in other classrooms, really, it's up to you. But this is just what I like to do. I like to do mini book clubs or article analysis or some other shared and guided reading activities. And while these centers do produce writing pieces, I'm not too strict on marking the work and using it as a summative assessment. I like to encourage the students to use the strategies within the writing process when they complete their tasks. Including I have them take out an editing checklist to go through their work after they're finished, but I rarely collect the notebooks to assess work done in literacy centers. The exception is, of course, when I do my guided reading, I do use that for my records. And some of the tech things are Google Forms based on lessons that we've done in class. So there are occasions, but for the most part, it's meant to be fun. I do look for the following things while they're in centers, and it's mostly for learner profile. Learner profile goes on your report card, and this gauges student behavior and things like that. So the things that I look for while we are working on literacy centers, are they interacting positively with each other? They're working in groups, so You need to learn how to interact with your group mates. Same goes for resolving conflicts appropriately. If there's an argument that comes up within a group, how does that group handle it? A lot of groups are really good to talk it out, while others, and it depends on the students you have, are quick to lose their cool and storm off. Works collaboratively also ties into the first two. Again, most of these are working with your classmates 99% of the time, so this is a great opportunity to see how they work collaboratively. Uses time efficiently. We'll see in a moment that you do have a clock running while literacy centers are going on, so you do have to use that time wisely and get all your work done or all the expectations done within that time frame. Follows instruction. Each center, each game has instructions, and you are expected to follow them. And also, the instructions could just be make sure you're working quietly and you're respecting your classmates, and respect school property. A lot of these games are paid for by myself and some through the school, but when you're playing a card game, obviously accidents are going to happen, but if you are ripping cards in two, that is intentional, and that is not respecting school property. So those are the things that I really look at when we do literacy centers, as opposed to really focusing on the work that's being produced. A lot of the stuff they're doing are building skills that we worked on in class, and skills that will help them moving forward with actual summative work and assessments and assignments. So this is basically just fun practice. Now, this would be the really fun part of the presentation. If we were meeting in person, we would form groups of 4 to 6 and actually get a chance to play with some of the games. Unfortunately, we are obviously virtual this year, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a few minutes to show some instructional videos of some of the most popular games that the students like. And these videos were all done by my students in the past, and I think they're really well done, and that will sort of give you a vision of how this looks in my classroom. So I'll show you about 5 or 6 videos, and then I will explain a little bit more what was happening during the videos. So enjoy.
Boggle. Shake the letter cubes to mix them up and give them a jiggle until they fall into place in the grid. When everyone is ready, flip the timer and lift the lid to fully reveal the letters. Start writing. Write down as many words as possible before the sand runs out. Words must be 3 letters long and must be attached. When the timer runs out, players reveal their word lists and work out their scores. 3-letter words are worth 1 point. 4-letter words are worth 2 points. If you use a bonus letter, letters with a circle around them, you get double the points. Stack and spell. Stack the blocks into a Jenga tower. Take turns pulling one block. Each block has a color on it. When you pull a block, read the color and your group will choose a word from that pile. The group will read the word you need to spell. If you spell correctly, put the block on top. If you are incorrect, draw another block and spell another word. If you are incorrect the second time, give another person a turn. Be careful, red words are tricky. Try not to be the person who knocks the tower over. When you finish off a round, shuffle the words, rebuild the tower, and start again.
Mad Libs. Deal each player 5 yellow cards. Draw a blue sentence card. Each player must come up with the most unique sentence possible using the words from their cards. After 2 minutes, each player shares their story with the group.
Watermelon. Pick 4 random seeds and place them aside. For an easier game, put J, Q, X, and Z aside. But for a more challenging game, put A, E, S, and T aside. Place the remaining seeds in the tray face down. The youngest player goes first, and will roll the dice to see how many seeds to flip over. Flip over the number of seeds anywhere on the tray. Call out the longest word you can spell with the flipped letters. Collect the seeds of the word you spelled and flip the remaining seeds back over. The game is over when all players agree there can be no more words spelled with the remaining letters. The person who has the most seeds at the end wins.
Apple letters. Place all 110 tiles face down on the table. This is the core. Each player takes 1 tile from the core, and the lowest letter goes first. Each player takes 8 more tiles, and should now all have 9 in total. The first player lays down a word in the middle of the table. Moving clockwise, the next player must add to the first or last letter of the word, horizontally or vertically. If a player can't lay a word when it gets to their turn, they must say pick and pass and take 3 letters from the core while losing their turn. The game continues until a player uses all their tiles. If there are no more letters in the core and no more words can be spelled, the player with the least amount of letters left is the winner. The winner calls out, "How do you like them apples?"
Bananagrams. Lay all 144 tiles face down in the center of the table. Each player takes 21 tiles. To start, a player calls out, "Split!" Everyone then flips their tiles face up and races to arrange them in their own intersecting word grid. When a player uses all their word tiles, they must call out, "Peel!" Every player, including the one saying "peel," must pick up another tile at any point during the game. You can put one of your letters back face down in the bunch. You must then take 3 more tiles in exchange. You can dump tiles as much as you'd like. When there is no more tiles left in the bunch, the first person to use all their tiles and call out "Bananas" is declared the winner.
Categories. This game can be played in partners or individually. Each player needs a categories folder, a pencil, an answer sheet, and a category list. Roll the 20-sided die and call out the letter it lands on. Flip the timer and start writing. You can write up to 3 answers for each category using columns 1, 2, and 3. When the time runs out, stop writing. Teams or players take turns reading their answers out loud. Score 1 point for each different answer you have. Answers with the same letter used twice is worth 2 points. The team or player with the highest score at the end of the game wins.
Popcorn words. Place the popcorn box in the middle of the table. The youngest player gets to go first. They take a popcorn card out of the box and read it out loud. If you read the word correctly, you keep the card. If you say the word incorrectly, you must place it in a pile of unpopped words. If you draw a pop card, you must put all of your cards back in the popcorn box. Once the box is empty, the person who has the most words wins.
So those are some examples of some word games that I play in the classroom. As you saw in the videos, they're just fun little games that help build on some skills that students will need to become better readers and writers moving forward. Up next, I'm going to show you some examples of some writing prompts that we do for literacy centers. Enjoy.
Story cubes. Round 1. Roll all 9 cubes and look at the images. Pick one image that will be the start of your story. Begin with Once Upon a Time, and the entire group takes turns adding to an oral story using a cube. If anyone gets stuck, re-roll the dice or pass your turn to someone else. Do this for 5 minutes. Round 2. Each person takes a die. One person will roll their die and begin a story using the image on the dial. The next person will roll and add on to the story. Continue until everyone has rolled. Round 3. Take out your writer's notebook and roll all 9 dice. In your notebook, spend 5 minutes writing a mini story using as many images on the dice for ideas. After 5 minutes, take turns sharing what you wrote.
Magnetic poetry. Form groups of 2 or 3. Each group needs a whiteboard, approximately 50 magnetic word titles. Set a timer for 5 minutes and try to create a poem using the words that you have grabbed. It should be at least 2 verses long, 8 lines, and can be any rhyming scheme. After 5 minutes, each group shared their poems and votes on who has the best. The winning group gets 2 points. The group with the most points at the end wins.
So those were some writing prompts. Really, I like to use these even during work to help relieve some writer's block. The story cubes really come in handy there. Writing challenge is another one that we do where you just pull a prompt and you have to write about it. Picture prompt, you look at a picture and write about it. Comic strip, you design a little 3 to 5 panel comic about a book you're reading, and that's another good way for students who aren't great at expressing their comprehension about a book or something they're reading through writing, but are really talented artists. That's another way for them to really express themselves. Up next, we're going to look at a really fun tool that I use in the classroom called Merge Cube. It's very popular, and it's just one of the technologies that I use when it comes to literacy centers. So once again, enjoy, and then I'll show you a couple others once the video is over. Merge Cube. Place the iPad on the stand. Open your assigned app. Select phone mode. You can hit skip when asked to allow access to your camera. When your camera comes on, take your cube and hold it in front of the camera. Now you can begin your assigned activity. Video assignment is one that I really like to do, and I use it for the most part on as part of their mark. So I really like to use heritage minutes based on a topic we're doing in class. So I will show you real quick a sample assignment that I've given many times in the past. So this is a way I like to integrate some other subjects into literacy centers. For example, this is a social studies lesson that I like to do, and I do it during literacy center. So it is on Canadian First Nations people, and I've taken heritage minutes. So I'm just going to log in as myself for a second, and I'll show you what happens here. You get to watch a heritage video, a heritage minute that we all grew up watching and loving, and we can just answer a couple of multiple choice questions based on the video. And the good part of this, and it works in for UDL and inclusion, is I don't put a time limit really on this. If you don't finish in the 45 minutes for literacy centers, I give you extra time, but you can go back and watch and rewatch this video as many times as you want. You can pause, and you can also turn on closed captions so you can get to read as well some of the text that you might have missed. So this is a really fun one, and this is one example that I would use to mark them on. So that is video assignment. Another good tech one is podcast, where you find a fun, user-friendly, student-friendly podcast series. Take notes, draw, and reenact what happened in each episode. So you can write notes in your notebook or on a worksheet. You can draw on comic strips sort of what you visualize characters and scenes and settings look like. And if you want to really incorporate tech and creativity, you can film reenactments. Gen Z Media is an excellent source for student-friendly podcast shows. I've used a few of these already, but yeah, they're different series. Some have lots of episodes, which are, not super long. Others have few episodes that are long. So I like to let the kids do this at their own pace, and it's a good way to fill in some free time as well. If students finish early, this is something that they can work on all year. So this is really fun in a center setting, as well as just in a classroom setting as well. So you get that listening comprehension, and they can summarize, predict, question, and highlight the main ideas. It's really, really good, and it's super popular. Students absolutely love it. The final category that I use for literacy centers is reading comprehension. It is important to consistently build reading comprehension skills. The activities that I'm about to show you can be adapted for all reading levels and can be done in small groups or individually. They are a great way to bring readers together to buddy read and have good group discussions. It is also a chance for teachers to introduce articles and short books that connect to other curriculum outcomes in different subjects. So, book clubs is something that I do each round, as I mentioned before, and I use it as my guided reading. I give each group a common book, they read it, I ask them before, during, and after questions, and I assess them based on their knowledge, identifying the main idea, and recalling important facts. Article analysis is a great way not only to keep students in touch with what is happening around our area, the country, and the world, but By selecting relevant articles that relate to curriculum outcomes, it's a great way to model text-to-self and text-to-text connections. If there's anything in the paper that has anything to do with something we're talking about in school, be it something to do with treaties when we're talking about Mi'kmaq, or about certain foods being banned when we're talking about nutrition and health class, I always try to seek out these articles and give them to them during literacy centers. A couple other things that I let students do is read on Epic. If you're not familiar with Epic, I know I've mentioned it earlier. It is an online database of books that you can assign students books based on their reading level. There are read-to-me books, there are videos, and there are higher level texts as well. And it's all digital. You can do it on a Chromebook, a phone, an iPad, whatever you want. And Dreamscape is a really cool game. It's a literacy game. It's a lot like Prodigy is to math, if you're familiar with Prodigy. And combines strategy and engagement of popular base building games like Minecraft, which is really popular with kids. And they have to read passages and answer questions in order to move on. And it's really, really fun. The kids love it. And it's a great way to let them play games and learn at the same time, which is what this is all about. So these are the things that I incorporate into my literacy centers as far as gaming goes. So when it's time for centers, each group is assigned an activity or a game. They find a spot in the room where they're supposed to work. They take their basket that has their equipment in it, and I put the 45-minute timer up on the overhead, and they can see how much time they have left, which comes into using time efficiently, and I give them 45 minutes to complete their task. Once the 45-minute timer is up, they have to complete a wrap-up activity, which is normally a writing prompt. It's usually something as simple as write about what you did today, or if it's a word game, take 3 words that you spelled today and use them in a sentence in your writer's notebook. But they have 5 minutes to do that. And that's all it takes for literacy centers. Now we're going to talk about gamification and assessment. A lot of teachers like to Take 3. Now we're going to talk about gamification and assessment. Most games are used as formative assessment and sort of informal pieces. However, there are some really great games and apps out there that you can really tailor to fit your students' needs, and you can use them as a summative assessment. And I'm going to show you 2 of my favorite for assessment right now. Quizzes is one of my favorites. You can use it for classwork, for group work, for pre-test studies, reviews, and you can actually use it as a test as well. It allows students and teachers to be online at the same time, so you can control the pace at which the quiz goes. You can also assign it as homework if it's something like that you want to do. And if you really want to add a gamification aspect to it, you can turn on the leaderboard, and as students get answers right, they climb the leaderboard and collect points. However, if this is a formal test, I don't recommend that, as it can see results in real time, and some students can get into a little rut if they get a couple of answers wrong. Kahoot is the other one I use on a regular basis. I'm sure most of us are probably familiar with Kahoot, but you can play fun games. You can search the database to find something that you're into, but you can also create your own. I use it a lot at the end of certain chapters for a book, as sort of a check-in and a comprehension check, if you will. I'll also do it as an exit slip. I will put it at the end of a certain unit. or sometimes I'll just throw one together in the middle of a unit just to see where people are at with the content. So it is a really fun game. Like I said, you can find ones that are already made, or you can take the time to make your own. And it's not super hard. It's pretty basic and user-friendly. You do have a leaderboard, and the goal is to try to answer as quickly as possible, but also answer correctly. And it's really fun to see their names climb the leaderboard. And at the end, I usually give dojo points, 3 points to whoever finished in first place, 2 for second place, and 1 for third place. So that is another way that you can use sort of as an informal assessment or a practice leading up to an assessment, but I wouldn't use that as a formal test or assessment piece. The final thing I'm going to talk to you about when it comes to games is a program called Nessie. It is an app that you can get on iPads. It is a fun educational game, and it's developed a reputation for exceptional quality. It's great for students with learning disabilities, and it's really aimed at students with dyslexia as well. Their whole philosophy is everything I believe in, which is that if children have fun, then the learning becomes more memorable. And when children play games, the increased level of engagement leads to dramatic improvements. I believe the app does cost money, which is the only thing, but it is definitely worth it. And it's definitely something that I'm going to look into a little bit more, and you can check out my website, which I'm going to show at the end here, if you'd like more information on that. So as we wrap up this session, I would like to promote my website, cormiersclassroom.com. And on here you can find everything that I talked about today. I've got sections for literacy centers, novel studies, gamification. I've got some stuff on video editing and social emotional learning lessons that I've done. There's lots of information. If you saw some of the games on there that you liked, that you were thinking about doing, you can find those in the resources page. I've got links to all of the spots that I found them on Amazon where you can buy them. I have all the instructional videos on a YouTube playlist. I have all of the instructions for every game that I make, and I update this constantly. So everything that you need is on here. If you click on the link with the name, it will take you to the game instructions and obviously the videos, which you saw earlier. But feel free to use any of these resources. If you ever want to get in touch with me, my information is on there. You can email me, you can tweet at me, whatever you wish. And the final thing I'm going to ask of you today is to please leave me some feedback. If you scan that QR code with your device, it will take you to a Google form on my website. And I'd love to hear what you thought of today's presentation, what you liked, what you didn't like, if you have any suggestions or ideas or anything that you'd like to see next time for this presentation. It only takes a second and it really helps me. So I'd really appreciate if you did that. Also, a reminder that I will be online for the next 15 minutes answering questions in real time on the Padlet. So please feel free to use the Padlet, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you so much for coming to my presentation. I hope next year we can meet in person and get our hands on some games. Keep in touch and keep on doing what you're doing. Teachers, you are rock stars.